What are some good things about athletic training? What are some bad things about athletic training? In this video, I'm going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to be talking about what I think are some pros and some cons of athletic training. Hey guys, what's up? It's Danny. If you've never watched any of my videos before, I'm currently a senior at the University of Miami studying athletic training. Some of you guys have been requesting a pros and cons of athletic training video. Guys, in this video, I'm just gonna be really honest, really upfront. I'm gonna tell you guys what I like, what I love, what I don't like, what I hate. Out of everything I've experienced as an athletic training student, I came down to a list of 5 pros and 5 cons. The first pro of athletic training are the sports involvement opportunities. The majority of people that I know that get into athletic training is because they have some passion for sports. Whether they played a sport or they just like watching sports, a lot of athletic trainers love sports, and by becoming an athletic trainer, it can guarantee you working in that sports environment, that sports setting. For me, I decided to major in athletic training because I played soccer growing up and I knew that I was never going to make it pro, but I still wanted to stay in that sports environment. As a student, it's also really cool to be directly involved with sports teams during your rotations. Like being on the field or on the sideline during a really big football game is definitely an experience that you're never going to forget. So if you're considering working for a college or pro sports team, athletic training might be for you. The second thing that I like about athletic training is that it's really hands-on. When I was choosing a college major, I was stuck between exercise physiology, which is really similar to kinesiology, or athletic training. One of the main factors that made me choose athletic training is that I knew that it was going to be really hands-on and applied. In most of our lab classes, instead of doing really boring Excel sheets, really weird experiments, we're actually really hands-on. We learn how to tape, we learn how to diagnose different injuries, we learn how to do special tests. And also, from a profession point of view, athletic trainers have to be really hands-on because they're usually the first ones to evaluate their athletes, whether it's on the field or in the training room. The third pro of athletic training is that it's just really rewarding to help others. As students, we hear this a lot from a lot of other licensed athletic trainers when we ask them why they decided to stay in athletic training or why they want to become an athletic trainer. A lot of them say that they just love what they do. They love being able to help out their athletes. They love being able to help them get back into play. Athletic trainers have a very high patient interaction. They usually are the first ones to evaluate their athletes, then kind of treat them throughout their rehab, and then assess them throughout their return to play. So yes, it can be really rewarding to be part of an athlete's injury recovery process, especially when you know that you're being directly involved with it. The fourth pro of athletic training is networking opportunities. Besides having a licensed athletic trainer or preceptor that can kind of like mentor you down the road, there's also a lot of other people that you're gonna meet that really have nothing to do with sports medicine or athletic training. Now you might be like, why do I care about other people that have nothing to do with athletic training, nothing to do with sports medicine? Like, that's my field. Why do I want to meet other people that have nothing to do with it? The answer to that is that you just want to build good connections, and the more people that you know, the better. You really don't know if you're going to meet somebody one day who might help you out later in the future, or you might even end up working for them. So as my professor likes to say, every day is an interview. Be professional, be willing to meet other people because you never know when you're going to bump into them again. Now my fifth and final pro of athletic training is its flexibility. Initially, when you get into athletic training, you only think that you can work for a college or professional sports team, but that's not really true. You can work as an athletic trainer at a high school, a hospital, a physical therapy clinic. You could work in the industrial setting or even do something unique like working in arts and entertainment. You can keep studying after your master's, get your PhD, and even be a professor, or you can completely switch, work in a non-clinical setting, and even work for the business side of athletic training. So don't think just because you're studying athletic training, you have to stick to college or pro sports. There are a lot of options. You just have to explore them. Alright, so you heard my 5 pros of athletic training, things I like, things I love, but now you're going to hear the things that I don't like, things I hate, because we're going to be talking about the cons of athletic training. The first con of athletic training are the really long and irregular hours. Some work from like 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. with like no breaks, no holiday breaks, no weekends off. It's just a constant grind 24/7. Even as an athletic training student, sometimes you can really feel how those hours can be. Like when it's a Saturday and you have all your non-athletic training friends call you and be like, yo, let's go out. It's Saturday. It's a free day, no class. But you're like, wait, I'm an athletic training student. I have to go into clinicals, I have to get hours done, I have to cover a game, or even worse. And I'm pretty sure that this scenario has happened to every athletic training student out there. It's like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. It's just like super late. It's been a really long day, really long night. And you go to your preceptor and you're like, oh, at what time do I have to come in tomorrow? And they look at you in the face and they're like, I want you to come in at 8 a.m. And you're like, bro, you didn't even give me like 12 hours in advance. Like, you're saying that in like less than 12 hours, I'm gonna be in the same exact spot? Yes, that is the athletic training student grind. In athletic training, hours are all over the place. They're never organized. Sometimes coaches tell you things really last minute. Nobody knows anything. It's really confusing. In my opinion, those long and irregular hours are just a major con, but some people love them. Some people love saying that they don't work a 9 to 5. They love being hectic all the time, but for me, it's just a con. The second negative thing about athletic training is the lack of recognition. This goes for everybody in the athletic training community, whether you're a student like me or you work full-time. A lot of people just don't know what athletic training is. And it can be really frustrating. You wake up really early, you treat a lot of patients, you go to bed super late, and you like don't get too much recognition for it. Now, I am gonna be honest, when you work in a team, yes, athletes do value their athletic trainers. They love their athletic trainers. Without them, they wouldn't be there. The team recognizes them, they appreciate them. But in general, athletic training does have an identity crisis, and a lot of people don't know what we do. They think that all we do is give water, tape ankles, and like that's it. They often confuse us with personal trainers. And sometimes people in the sports and medical world don't really recognize our value and how much effort athletic trainers really put into what they do, which can be really frustrating. The third con of athletic training is the stress. Being an athletic trainer can be a really stressful and demanding job. And as a student, we would definitely notice this because like tensions get like really high in the training room. All the athletic trainers get like really anxious, like really stressful. Then the students get anxious and stressful, and it just becomes like a really like big ball of stress. Now, like I acknowledged earlier, I am not a licensed athletic trainer. I've never worked full time, but a lot of athletic trainers get stressed out because they're working these really long hours. They barely have time to see their family or their significant other. They barely have any free time just to do like something that's not athletic training related. So it just causes them to be really stressful. And on top of that, they have to deal with like all these athletes, all these coaches. It's just a lot of stress. What I can tell you though, as a student, is that a lot of stress comes from time management, how to figure out a social life while being an athletic training student, how to make time for studying, how to make time to go out with friends. Even just talking about stress is like stressing me out. But you get the point. Whether you're a student or a full-time athletic trainer, just in general, athletic training can be really stressful and demanding. The fourth con of athletic training is the burnout. Now, to be honest, as a student, it's really hard to experience burnout because you're only a student for so long, and you also have other like non-athletic training things going on, so you never really experience that like true burnout. But burnout is something that you see really often in athletic training, mainly due to the really high stress levels and the long hours. Some athletic trainers might work in the collegiate setting for a while, it doesn't work out, too many long hours, then they go to like another school, same thing, then they like move around, jump around, and it just like kind of becomes a cycle, and eventually they just like go into something non-athletic training related. Now, this isn't every athletic trainer, but a lot of athletic trainers that work in collegiate or high school settings tend to be young and single, just because you can't really like, you know, manage a family and then work all those like really long hours for like, you know, 20 or 30 plus years. Now, there are people that do that, but in general, I don't think so. And anybody in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong. I want this to be like a safe space. I don't want like any hate for saying wrong information. Now, the fifth con, which I think is one of the worst things about athletic training, is the salary. But yes, I'm just gonna be real with you guys and say it, because in school they like to cover it up, be like, oh, athletic training, like it's so rewarding, it's so like passionate. But athletic trainers do not get paid that much. I think salary is a big problem all over the board. Everybody in the profession is aware that athletic training has like a salary problem, that they're like really underpaid. And I think that the biggest issue is that besides having like really low paying athletic training positions, is just like the hours that come along with them. Think about it, you're working like really high hours, but you're not getting paid the amount that you should for the hours you're working. So that's like the main issue that's going on. Now, keep in mind, athletic trainers are aware that sometimes they're not paid as much, but guess what? They love what they do, and that is completely fine. As long as you do what you love and you're happy, that's all that matters. But I think that every athletic training student kind of goes through this crisis in their head that's like, do I really want to be an athletic trainer? And even me, I like to think really ahead. As an athletic trainer, can I be financially stable in a really expensive city? Can I have all the financial funds to manage a family or like buy a house? It's just something to think about. But yeah, guys, those were my 5 pros and my 5 cons of athletic training. Hopefully you found this video useful, because I really don't think there's too much information about athletic training on YouTube. So I'm kind of, you know, building up the brand a little bit. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below to stay up to date with my weekly uploads. But that is it for me. But always remember to stay hydrated.